Again, a great pleasure to join you in celebration of the 34th anniversary of Falun Dafa. You know, the principles of Falun Dafa of truth, compassion, and tolerance are values that we all share as Canadians. And sadly, those values are not shared by the communist regime in Beijing. So although we come from many different parts of the world and diverse backgrounds, we are united here in Canada to uphold those principles. Despite the torturous oppression that has been carried out against Falun Gong practitioners in China, the work that you have done here in Canada and around the world, and even in China itself, has made the world a better place. Since 1999, the practitioners of Falun Dafa have been subject to cruel and inhumane practices in China carried out by the communist regime. The atrocities, the illegal organ harvesting, the ongoing brutality and reprogramming of Falun Dafa practitioners is something that we have to continue to shine the spotlight on. We have to stop it. We know that it has followed you here to Canada, that we see transnational repression. And that was carried out so effectively on April 1st of this year in Toronto, when Shen Yun wanted to just carry on with a beautiful cultural dance, showcasing Chinese culture, showcasing the love and inspiration of Falun Dafa. And because of one person calling in, a prank phone call, was able to get the shows canceled in Toronto. It is inherent upon us as Canadians. It's inherent upon us as parliamentarians. And it is the responsibility of the Government of Canada, the Government of Ontario, and the Government in Toronto to ensure that people aren't being subjected to these attacks that are actually transnational repression, that are stopping the sharing of Falun Dafa and stopping the ability for people to perform and share their culture with the rest of our country. These types of threats can never be taken lightly, but at the same time, we should not just bow down to these individuals who have direct ties back to the communist regime in Beijing and allow them to suppress our freedoms that we enjoy right here in Canada. The freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, the freedom of religion, the freedom of conscience. But that's exactly what is happening. So I call on all Canadians to stand firm, that we must stop transnational Bill C-219, the Sergei Magnitsky International Anti-Corruption and Human Rights Act. It will provide meaningful support to police, to municipalities, to community organizations, to the government itself, to ensure that we have our front lines hardened to fight foreign interference and combat transnational repression. It would put an end to Chinese police stations in Canada once and for all. And it will ensure that those corrupt foreign officials who are carrying out and perpetrating transnational repression right here in Canada are held to account, as well as those back in China who have been able to enrich themselves through illicit means like the grotesque organ harvesting of Falun Gong practitioners. We have to make sure that Canada is never used as a safe haven for those people, for that regime to hide their wealth, to hide their families, and to take advantage of Canada's generosity as well as our sound banking systems. All of those individuals, they need to be held to account for their crimes and punished accordingly. You know, we're all blessed to live in this amazing country, Canada, where we have the ability to practice our charter rights. They are protected. The freedom of religion, the freedom of conscience, the freedom of assembly, and the freedom of expression. And our thoughts and prayers are with those who still live under the oppression of the Chinese Communist Party. We need to make sure that they stay in our hopes, in our prayers, and in our thoughts, so that one day in China they'll be able to practice you as Falun Gong practitioners who have made Canada your home. You have made us a better nation, a stronger country, and one that you inspire each and every one of us. Congratulations on 34 amazing years.